Welcome to Sales Engineering. This is part 2. My name's Andrew McGill-Fenderbosch, and I want to start this episode off just as a reminder that when we do these sales engineering videos, they're not in sequential order. So for those of you who watch the first one, it's not a building process. You got to watch the first one, then the second, then the third. This is going to be something, these are not mutually exclusive, okay? What we're going to go over today, and for those of you who are in the following 5 fields, please pay close attention. All right, so if you're in real estate right now, if you're in insurance, door-to-door sales, timeshare, or of course any outbound telemarketing, which is exactly what I do, which is what our company's been doing for over a decade, this is what you want to pay attention to. And the reason why is the stuff we're talking about today, it's not going to be in books, it's not going to be online in videos. This is practical application of sales. That's what we're covering today. What happens when you go to ask for someone's business? In most every case, you're going to get an objection. Then we're going to give a rebuttal. And then they're going to give an objection, and so on and so forth. This process tends to repeat itself. So here's what we're talking about today. Power statements. The power statement is intended to break the monotony and get the customer to pay attention. A lot of times we go round and around in what I call debate style selling. So again, just to reiterate, debate style selling is when someone gives an objection, we as salespeople give rebuttals, but we don't go back and ask for their business. We don't change the customer's path. So they come back and they give an objection again, and then we give a rebuttal. This usually leads to some sort of stalemate. For those of you who have been doing sales for as long as we have, there is nothing worse in the world than a stalemate, because all that means is that they're not going to give us the business today. So what we've done is we've prepared a few power statements for viewers like yourself to be able to easily use. So I'd like you to grab a pen and piece of paper, write these couple of statements down. I'm also going to make real live examples for how they can be used. And power statements are wonderful whenever you're talking to an experienced buyer, right? So if it's somebody who's already purchased a home before, they're looking for a second home. If it's somebody who's owned insurance, and again, maybe they're looking to switch insurance providers or carriers. If I'm in timeshare, they own another timeshare. If I go door to door and I'm trying to sell an alarm system, but they already have a security system in place, and of course I do outbound sales, there's so many different things that you can sell. But the point here for all 5 of those categories is that when you go to ask for someone's business, a lot of times what happens, we get caught eventually in a stalemate, okay? So listen up. We're going to begin using power statements. These are wonderful to use. I'll give the first example I'm going to give is for the type of customer that already owns this product, whether they own it today or they have owned it in the past, meaning they understand what it is we're doing. So get your pen and piece of paper. All right, here is the first power statement. And you'll start off by using their last name, which I normally don't recommend, but in this particular case, because remember, I want to get their attention. So if I've been using their first name throughout the transaction or the presentation, we can call it so far, then I now am trying to, remember, capture their attention. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Here's an example. The customer wants more time to think about it. They want to sit on it for a day or 2 days. You've done your objection rebuttals. Maybe you've asked for the money a couple different times or asked for their business or the order, so to speak, and they still haven't given it to you. At this point, like I said, we've got to grab their attention. So what we're going to do is a power statement. If this is a customer who already has purchased something like this before in the past, I can say this: Mr. or Mrs. Jones, as a previous owner of this product, you know better than most customers I talk with on a daily basis what I can and can't do here today. Period. So let that sink in for a second. Mr. or Mrs. Jones, as an owner or previous owner of XYZ product, you know better than most people, customers, guests, whatever fits your category. You know better than most people I talk with on a daily basis what I can and can't do today. What that does is that changes the conversation tone, and it also lets the consumer know that, hey, I can't quite get off the hook this easily with the lady or gentleman that I'm talking to. The last thing we want to be is the typical salesperson. I think atypical in our business works extremely well, as I'm sure it's going to work in yours. If you do everything that everybody else does, you won't make a dent on the business. So here's an example. If I'll role play, of course, both sides, I'll be the consumer and I'll be the representative. So the consumer turns around and says, Hey, look, I appreciate what you're doing here today, and I definitely thank you for your time. But we're going to need a couple days to think about this. I mean, we just do. Well, hey, look, Mrs. Jones, I'm not trying to pressure you, but I will tell you this. As an owner of, timeshare properties already, you know better than most families I speak with on a daily basis what I can and can't do here today. So, that gets you off one category, whatever that objection is, and allows you now to transition into something different. This is where you have to put your offer a little stronger. Maybe you go back and restate the offer, maybe you build some more value, but what you're doing here is you're also creating urgency. And remember, no customer in the world is going to buy today if they believe they can get away with buying tomorrow. It's no different than paying your mortgage, your electric, your gas in your car. You sure don't usually buy gasoline when you have 3/4 of a tank, do you? Absolutely not. If you can get away with not buying gas until you're down on E, that's what most of us do. So what we're trying to do here today is establish urgency. All right, so you guys have that power statement. Let's grab those pens and papers. Let's go out there and use that in your presentation today. Obviously, the goal here is to get that presentation a little better, grab the customer's attention, get them back into buying mode. So, begin using it, begin making more money right now. Again, my name's Andrew McGill Fenderbosh, and this is Sales Engineering. Until next time.